Hi, this video is for Scorpio Ascendant. So I'm going to describe a little bit about, so how you can read a chart by just simply look at where the sign is situated and all the little things that are very much available that we can see, and you can read a empty, clean chart, like with no planets, like an empty chart. So let's have a look. Let's start with this and have a okay, gonna get rid of myself. Okay, so we have, oh, look at that, we have Katie also on the ascendant, which is quite interesting just there. So ascendant, so okay, wanted to say that basically this sign, Scorpio, has got three nakshatras. First nakshatra is the first 3 degrees 20 of it is Vishaka, ruled by Jupiter. And then the next 13 degrees 20 will be Anuradha, ruled by Saturn. And the latter part, the last 13 degrees 20, so from 16 degrees 40 to 30 degrees, is called Jyeshta and is ruled by Mercury. So this will be the, as you know, there are 27 nakshatras, 3 groups. The first group goes from Ashwini in Aries and finishes with Ashlesha, Mercury nakshatra in Cancer. They always finish, the 3 groups always finish with Mercury nakshatra, which is also the Gandanta point, and start with Ketu. So this is Ketu rules Ashwini, starts there and finishes with Mercury. And so they literally are, Ashwini is Ketu, Venus is Bharani, Kritika is the sun, which goes into Taurus as well. And then we have Rohini, moon, Mrigashira, which is ruled by Mars and goes into Gemini. And then we have Ardra, which is Rahu, and then we have Purnavasu, which is from Gemini to Cancer, and then we have Pushya in the middle, ruled by Saturn, and then ends with Mercury. And that goes, the same thing goes all the way through. So the dashas, the Vimshottari dashas, are very much like that. So obviously it depends on what, where your moon is when you're born. So if you're born moon in Ashwini, so Katie will be your first dasha, and then you have Venus dasha, then you have the sun, then moon, then Mars, and then you have Rahu and Jupiter, Saturn, and Mercury, and that's how it goes. Again, starts with that. So that's how the dashas go. So this will be obviously from Magha, Purva Falguni, Uttara Falguni, Hasta, Chitra, between these two, and then we have Swati, and then Vishaka, Anuradha, and Jyeshta. So that's the second sets of nakshatras finish here. So always Gandanta points will be 1 degree before and 1 degree after that junction between the water sign and the fire sign. So the water sign Cancer, the fire sign Leo. Water sign Scorpio, fire sign Sagittarius. Water sign Pisces, fiery sign Aries. That's how they are. And always harder when the Gandanta, you have a planet at Gandanta before, like if you got like, say for example, Mercury, even whatever planet in at the 29 degrees of Pisces will be more difficult than 1 degree of Aries, because they're coming out of that sinking, being lost and completely sunk in there. So it's always worth knowing that. I will actually do videos about Gandanta. I think you can work through those anyway as time goes by. This is all, we can't let life just take over and not be in control of it. I don't believe in that at all. I think we have to exercise our free will and our experience. Anyway, so for Scrpio Ascendant. So Scorpio is obviously the natural 8th sign of the zodiac. It's a secretive, hidden sign. It's very emotional because it's water sign and it's fixed. So it's difficult for these natives to change in a sense. And it's where moon is debilitated, no planet is exalted here, and no planet is also, there's no more trachona. Although some people say K2 is exalted here, but here we go. So basically, it rules the internal sexual organs and the anus. So it's all about excretion and letting go. This and so we can also say that it is like it's where like anywhere in the chart that we all have Scorpio in a sign, in a house. Sorry, not in a sign. But it's obviously there are karmic things to go with that because part is co-owned by K2, and so these are the things that we kind of were working on in a previous life, and now we're just kind of completing now. So Scorpio, as you know, first house and sixth house. So Mars rules first and sixth house, and as such, it is the planet that is very good at intelligently solving its own problems. It can actually create its own obstacles and debts and conflicts. It can be its own worst enemy, but it is also that has that capability of dealing with them as well. So it's based between Venus sign Libra and Sagittarius sign. So two friends to Mars, but also benefic signs, and it gets aspect of Taurus as well. So another benefic sign, and he also gets the aspect of Jupiter and Saturn as well. I mean, I know they're not there, but generally speaking, that's how we're going to go with it. So it's obviously lots of things going on there, lots of help in that sense. Their second house is sorry, and I meant to say also it's very what do you call it? It's feminine sign as well. It's not a masculine sign. Okay, so basically, second house is ruled by Jupiter, which is friendly to Mars, and that sign is the second house is between Mars sign and Saturn sign, and is aspected by Mercury. So this is the sign of the family, and due to the fact that neither Moon or Sun are then they're both friendly with Jupiter, so therefore they do get quite a lot of nourishment from their parents, and normally speaking they do have good parenting, good upbringing. But obviously if Mars is in poor condition, then they could be quite vengeful with their words. And then we have the third house is where the first lord is actually exalted. So through efforts and bravery and everything, they can achieve quite a lot. So they can become quite good at self-expressing and achieving their life's desire, their heart's desires, in a sense, being a house of desires. And it's hemmed between Jupiter sign and also Saturn sign. It's aspected by the moon, third house. So what it tells you is that they are basically Mars and Saturn are not friendly. So it does show there's a bit of disharmony between the siblings, and they don't really understand each other that well. So they might actually, exchange some difficult words. Their fourth house is ruled by Saturn as well. It's between Saturn sign and Jupiter sign. It gets the aspect of the Sun. So what we can say, and also aspect of Mars too. So what does that tell us about that is that basically it's Aquarius is a sign of friends. So it just says that they do have friends, and that having friends makes them happy, because fourth house is happiness. And also shows that their mother also has got very, good network of friends too. But our mother is practical, hardworking, and ambitious. but they could be like, there's not that much of there's a coldness between mother and child, and there's a coldness between them and their friends. So they're quite practical in a sense. So when they need something, they'll be in touch with their friends. There's got to be that kind of thing. There's anyway, fifth house is ruled by Jupiter, and is aspected by Saturn. It's also aspected, it's hemmed between Saturn and also Mars, and aspected by Mercury too. So what it tells you is that basically they have reasonable intelligence, and they're quite friendly with their child, getting that Mercury aspect. What it does show you is they don't always necessarily, they do have quite a lot of luck in life, but they don't necessarily have huge amount of they don't have many children, because also that just for the sheer fact that the significant of the fifth house is Jupiter. So you've got to look at where Jupiter is in life in their chart to see whether or not they end up having children. And then we have Aries. Aries is aspected by Venus from Libra, and it's between Taurus and Pisces, two benefic signs, and aspected by Saturn. So this, what it tells me is that it's got lots of very, very beneficial aspect to it, and it's an Upachaya house, so it gets better with time. So I would just generally say that they can really navigate their way through any kind of litigation, arguments, discord, obstacles of life, disease, all that kind of stuff. They're very good at tackling that kind of stuff. They can get diseases like diabetes, like bladder stones and things like that, but generally speaking, they can be disease-free. They can tackle things quite well. Obviously, it all depends on the person's chart, but it's just a general look at it. Then from seventh house is ruled by Venus, and also is hemmed between Mercury and also Mars itself, and it gets aspect of Mars too. So that there's a lot of energy goes into being in relationships. They do marry well normally because of that reason. They because of the aspects and everything going on, and so basically they put the energy goes into being in relationships. The eighth house is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is the only planet that works extremely well in the eighth house. It's just practical, intellectual, and it doesn't allow emotions get the better of it. So in here, it can get all the information it needs to actually do the self-help, do the psychotherapy, get the healing that they need. And this is between two benefic signs, Taurus and Cancer, and gets the aspect of Jupiter as well, which in itself tells you that they are they have and also Saturn is the Karaka of the eighth house, is friendly with Mercury, so they can actually navigate the misfortunes of the eighth house quite well, and they have a long life. Ninth house is ruled by the moon, and it's where the actually Mars is debilitated, and it's between Mercury and Sun sign, and it does get the aspect of Saturn too. So I forgot to say actually that the eighth house gets the aspect of Mars, and that really does help them also to be logical about their issues of the eighth house. Sorry about that. So let's go back to the ninth house. So this is also ruled by the moon, and obviously they do have issues with the father basically, and because also Sun being the a significator of the ninth house, is exalted in the sixth house, and sixth house is a difficult house, so they could have some issues there. But Sun and Moon are friendly towards each other, so they can inherit inheritance from the father. But they could have difficulties with siblings during that litigation, or litigation because of that with their siblings, because Mars is indicator of siblings, debilitated in Cancer. Their 10th house is Leo, so their sun gets Dikbala there. So they're successful at work. They could have really good governmental jobs and rise to the top. It does also mean that because a ruler of this house is exalted in the 6th house, it just means that they're not necessarily very spiritual or religious, really, in that sense. So, but because also it's a fixed sign, this is a fixed sign's 10th house, and you know, it just means that they stay in their jobs for a long time and get the respect they deserve. The 11th house is aspected by Jupiter and is between Venus and the Sun. So what this tells me is that basically they gain quite good income from their work. So they don't have to overly work, you know, in order to get that. And, you know, they make good connections in order to assist that too. Then we have their 12th house, which is Libra. So it just means that they like to spend money on others. However, they're not as charitable as you think, because there's always some form of agenda to their spending. Because obviously, you know, it's a secret house. There's something hidden about it. So keywords for Scorpio will be secrets, hidden, dark, protection, control or lack of control, jealousy, envy, sex, death, transformation, suppression, suspicion, privacy, shadow, poison, sudden events, divorce, accidents and surgery, lottery, isolation, intuition, vengeance, longevity, attachment, excretion even, protection, poison, wickedness, loyalty, deep or depth, research, caves, tunnels, fragility, and strength, really, their cults, psychotherapy, and self-help. So these are all the indications of that. Okay, so a lot to learn about that, really. So it's pretty good to just kind of just wanted to just also say that Vishaka part of this sign is much more self-sacrificing. The Anuradha part, the middle part from 1320, it's much more to do with surrender and friendships, devotion. And Dreshta is much more strategic. This is the part that's very ambitious and can overcome any poisons or any difficulties in life. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.